So people are grilling Mitch Mcconnell because of this, because he said African American voters.
Leader McConnell, yes. What's your message for voters of color who are concerned that without the John L. Lewis Voting Rights Act, they're not going to be able to vote in the midterm?
Well, the concern is misplaced because if you look at the statistics, African American voters are voting in just as high a percentage as Americans.
Like if they're a second class human being, or basically separating, you know what I mean, white Americans and black Americans, right? And this is what's bothering me. I've been this whole my whole life, it's always been like, oh, well, when somebody asks me, hey, are you American? And no, yeah, yeah, I'm Mexican American or whatever. And oh, when you see a black person, they're from America. Oh, well, he's African American, right? When you see a white person, there's no label to that. And this is where I've had issues, and I've been like, why isn't there a European American label on a white person, right? And so for the longest, I've been talking about this, and it's kind of been like when I talk to people that are white, they're like, "Oh, where you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm from Texas." "Oh, yeah, but where you really from?" I'm like, "I'm from Texas." "Oh, oh, you're American." You're no, no. They don't tell me you're American. They tell me, "Oh, you're Mexican American." Yes, but I'm American first. So this is where all this wordplay. I feel like Mitch McConnell messed up because he's a politician, and he basically said, I mean, African American voters are voting in just as high percentage, and a high percentage just as Americans. What? Like, you're dividing us right there, right? Now, I feel as a Mexican American, or an African American, or an American American, I guess you want to call it that, or a European American is what I would have labeled Mitch, or any white person, right? Uh, that we need to fix this, because not only as colored people, but as Americans. So what I mean by this, if we're gonna be calling black people uh, African Americans, then white Americans need to be called European Americans. Okay, just because you're white doesn't mean that you're the main character. It doesn't work that way anymore. So let's just, I mean, and then this is to all my people that watch this, or my Hispanics, or my blacks. We need to start speaking up about this. Like either we all, oh, are you? I mean, when somebody asks me, hey, are you Mexican, or are you American, or what are you? I need to start, I mean, educating them. Or are you a European American, or are you an American American? Because they'll bet you anything, if you tell somebody that, are you European American? They'll be like, oh, well, no, I'm just a white American or whatever. Because I've had that conversation with people. But what we need to start doing is either we categorize all colors, you know what I mean? And so if you're black, you're African American, which is a lot of black people haven't even been to Africa. Or when people categorize Mexican Americans, a lot of Mexicans haven't even been to Mexican Americans haven't even been to Mexico. So either we're all Americans here, whether, oh, you know what, the question that they asked Mitch McConnell was related to African Americans. Okay, if you want to label them as that, then you have to label Mexican Americans as Mexican Americans, and white Americans or Americans, you need to label them as European Americans. If not, we're all Americans. We need to stop dividing each other through context. But what do you guys think? Do you think Mitch McConnell's reply, maybe, I feel like he just said it just to say it, like, oh, well, like, instead of saying like European Americans, since he doesn't have a label, he's just American, is what he was implying. I don't know if he's racist. He does have some tendencies of, or there's been pictures that I've seen where he is taking a racist stand. I don't think he meant to say it that way because his job is on the line, his livelihood. But do you guys think that was racist of Mitch McConnell to divide African Americans or to make them feel like second class citizens and call himself Americans? Should he be labeled as a European American, or or was that fine for him to say that and it is what it is? Like, I don't think it was in a racist way that he said it. The context, it slipped out. I'm pretty sure it slipped out. He didn't mean anything by it. Like, oh, you know what? I need to divide us. You know what I mean? But I think he said it honestly, and that's how he feels that African Americans, you know what I mean, are the black people, and then Americans are the white people, and then there's Mexican Americans like me that are the brown people. You know what I mean? So I think that's how he categorized that answer. But to me, if we're gonna fix this, then we need to call white people European Americans, or we fix this by honestly just calling everybody Americans. If you live in the Americas, then you're an American. You know what I mean? Calling, we need to stop dividing our colors. But you guys let me know if he did it intentionally. I want to know if you guys think he's racist. I want to know if he could have answered that differently. And what do you think about starting to call white people not just Americans, but European Americans or something in that regard? What do you guys feel about that?